I'm Lance Yelvington for CyberCountry. Have you ever talked to one of those people whose story gets more interesting the more you hear it? Mike Aiken is a musician who's lived the city life, the country life, and sailed around the world. In this CyberCountry Minute, we're going to find out how Mike Aiken has taken all this great experience and spun it into one fantastic CD called Captains and Cowboys.
As a kid, I ended up sort of living on the street by 16 and playing rock and roll for a living. As I got to maybe 20, I got sick of distortion pedals and big amps and electric guitar. I sold all that, and really I went to bluegrass. And bluegrass instruments, I bought mandolins, fiddles, dobros, acoustic guitars. And dobro took me into bottleneck slide. And all that genre sort of took me into country. And that has always, where my heart has been, not, let's say, pop country, but in a roots country is where I started to base all my storytelling from. And wherever else I went, of a blues player, southern rock player, even a pop country player, everything ended up coming into that roots country background that seemed to really draw me in.
You're talking about stories. You have a story that not a lot of people here in Nashville would have. I mean, how many songwriters out there taking a boat and just gone to find their fortune or find what the stories are, what stories lie out there across the great sea?
Well, what happened was I was sort of raised very rural and spent a bunch of time raising horses, shoeing horses for a living. And there was a sort of a pivotal point of playing guitar and going, shoeing horses is killing my hands, and I can either shoe horses or play guitar. Guitar won. Over time, I fell in love with the nomadic way of having a small boat and being able to go anywhere in the world. The world's 70%, 80% water. And if you could master navigation, figure how to own a boat, the world became yours. That's what intrigued me first. Through that, it became really, you met sort of iconic individuals on the water. And that's where Captains and Cowboys, it was the same through rodeo, the same through that lifestyle, and I started seeing parallels in these small boat captains, not big corporate boat captains, but smaller captains who ran their own lives off their boats, and I saw both those individuals, and that just took me out there. And then I started realizing, the stories to be told. It was just great, an information bed to start telling stories from.
So when you have that kind of experience, do you have a greater appreciation for the songs that other people have written before, especially the old country traditionalists?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The ones that draw me are the people that really wrote from where they came from. You know, there's the art of writing, and there are a ton of good songwriters, especially Nashville town, ton of good songwriters, but there's the art of being able to take your situation and write a story from it. And to me, that's the art form of being the storyteller, of being the troubadour, of being the person who can relate that personal experience and tell it. Doesn't mean it has to be a hit song, but the person who can do that, the storyteller throughout time has been the one that keeps it going. So for me, that's been fascinating.
Now you're talking about stories. What can you tell me about Captains and Cowboys? Because from what I've heard about that, and the songs that I've heard on there, each one of them is like a chapter out of a great novel.
Well, thanks. Well, thanks very much for that. I appreciate that. And that's it. It took me about 2 years to put together. And during that time, I wrote a lot of songs, but only a few really fit this project that I wanted. You know, it's the 6th CD I put out, and I wanted something that wasn't really a conception CD, but had the ability to tell the tale through all the songs. And again, the people that have drawn me in their life were sort of the individuals, the people who stood their own ground, who believed in who they were, sometimes right or wrong, or maybe right or wrong, isn't it? Maybe good or bad is the thing, you know, but they were who they were, and that's all they could be. And I found during my storytelling and songwriting, I found that I related to that quite a bit because that's all I could do is be who I was. And if I could relate that to the songs, I hoped other people would get it. You know, and that's Captains and Cowboys was. I grew up with rodeo folks, one guy in particular who was Calgary Bull and Bronc in like 1967, took me under his wing, and I learned a ton from this guy. And then over time, it was a couple sea captains who took me out and taught me a lot and showed me a lot of honesty in the world. And I tried to relate that to my songs.
Now, what do you think is coming up next for you? I mean, what's on the horizon?
On the horizon, I guess, would be I'm writing a ton. This album has just been released, so it's promoting it. I'm on the road a ton this summer. I would like to get in another long-distance sailing trip in here somewhere, but music is sort of, I can't say gotten in the way. It's a funny one. I'm in a no-lose situation, Music is a fickle business. So if the music falls apart, well, gee, I get to go sailing. I can't lose.
It should be that
hard. So for me, I sort of get up every day and I sort of pinch myself and go, well, gee, okay, we're here. This is all good. So for me, it's just to continue writing, continue performing, and continue really try to be somebody who can tell an honest story and an honest tale. And if I can manage to inspire some other people along the way, then that's great.
What's your favorite part about playing in front of an audience?
I guess that gets a little bit selfish. I like to turn, the classic line is, you feed the crowd and they feed you back with energy. That all works, and I do love that. When I have a good band, my favorite part is when I sort of lose myself, step back, close my eyes, and listen to everybody else. I mean, you play with good, and I've got good players with us, when you can forget the song, forget the rest, and there'll be times in a song where I get to just step back. I mean, I like being a lead player. I play a lot of bottleneck slide, but I play with good players, and to step back and listen to them play is a ball for me. I mean, it's another one of those things where in my life, who gets to do that? Not many of us get to stand back and listen to these great players. So that's...
You get to do a lot of that here in Nashville too, don't you?
Yeah, you do. The band runs out of Nashville these days, and to be able to just listen to the people that I'm fortunate enough to be around, that's a ball. That's just a ball.
Now, with the stuff I've heard you sing in your album, how tough is it to pick the right songs for the album? Because you've got a lot out there, and suddenly you've got to figure out, well, do I want this one or this one?
I tell you a funny little story. That can be real tough. This particular one, I had Dan Baird as a producer, Dan Baird, Georgia Satellites, and we spent a long time. It took us probably 9 months to record this, and Dan was interesting. We did it in 4-song segments, and we sort of let the album get its life. And there were times where I sent Dan rough drafts. I do one little microphone, acoustic guitar, my voice, send it off to Dan and say, I think this will be a good one. And I get an email back from Dan that just said, no. 2 letters, no. I go, well, Dan, give me a little more than that, No. He goes, and it would come back and go, you can do better. And that was a ball. But there was a lot of stuff. I thought I had all 12 songs written when we started. In the end, I had maybe 6. And then we started really refining it and trying to bring it to... He understood what my concept was and what I was after. And he made me toe the line. I couldn't take any easy outs, and I appreciated that.
There's people like that, I guess, are important because they hold your feet to the fire. And
They
bring out the best.
There's times definitely where you're going, what are you, nuts, But in the end, we listen back, and I think we accomplished what we were after. And with me, it's a tough one, because I will write about, I'll have an influence of a song. I used to live in Newfoundland for a while, sailed up there, because the music scene is so great. We based out of Spain for a while. So I'll bring all these geographic feels and cultural feels in, and it's tough to get the songs that all blend and form the one CD that you can walk away from, hopefully, if we're successful. Somebody walks away and goes, I get a total feel, not 12 individual feels, but I get a total feel of what's coming across from this. So in some ways it's a tough one too, in these days of, it's almost a singles market. With the internet taking over, people can pick and choose what they get. Sometimes it's tough to try to relate a concept. And I'm hoping that I get people excited enough where they go, I want to hear more of what he's trying to tell.
Now, why should somebody buy the CD or listen to a show of yours?
Well, two different things. I think in a show, when you come to a show of mine, it's not just 2-3 hours of listening to song after song, and it goes back to that. I will take you in one spot from a geographic place. In one point, a song like Save the Whales. I'll take you to New Bedford whaling and to Newfoundland and Nova Scotia and try to give you a part, and with the stories I'll tell behind it before the song goes, I'll take you there. And the next one might be something like Put a Sail on It, where really the old man in the bar was about a 70-year-old Rastafarian I spent a whole lot of time with when I based out of Antigua. So I will really take people geographically in a show beside just, I think when they come to me, they can assume they're going to get a hot band, they're going to get great reproductions of the song, but it's where I can take you in a live show, why people walk away going, I'm coming back to see him again. And I tried to capture that within the album so that they can get it, and there's enough depth to the songs that the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time somebody listens to it goes, oh, now I hear what's going on here. It isn't just the one time it's a catchy foot tapper, listen to it on the radio and it's gone. So in my opinion, it's worth owning it to be able to delve into the whole story. Hi, I'm Mike Aiken. Let me tell you a little bit about what's happening with this Captains and Cowboys CD. One, there's a video that was released on the same day of April 22nd. You can go to my website, which is MikeAikenmusic.com. You spell Aiken, A-I-K-E-N. You can't find it, and there'll be a link to it. It goes to my YouTube channel, which would be great to have you come on and subscribe to that. It's an interesting one. My background is living on a sailboat, based out of Norfolk, Virginia. And in Norfolk, you see all these coal freighters that are shipping a huge amounts. Every day there's probably 15 going out, there's 20 at anchor, and all our coal is being shipped to China. So it's been an interesting story of watching the work that these coal miners have to do it, watching the Appalachian Mountains absolutely shrinking, and watching our physical earth being shipped overseas. So check out that video. I think you'll find it pretty interesting. There's also a current single out to country radio called Summertime Song, and that's just a fun song, topical to the summer, and I think you'll have a good time listening to it.